Hi. Well, I came on here just afternoon, and I hope I didn't lose some of you. But those of you who are listening later, please let me know that you're listening later. I forget what we used to put in the comments section. Um, Replay. That's what it is. Put replay in the comment section if you're listening to after the fact. If you hear wonderful, 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 I just had a little bit of a snack food trying to get on here and share um, the science behind quantum energy. So, as I was putting this together, so just so you know, I had this idea because recently I had a student of mine on the medicine wheel who actually got the vaccination, the first jab, they call it. And then her husband got it too, and her sister and her brother in law got it as well. And they all were exposed to COVID 19. Her husband got really, really sick, so sick that he was actually planning his departure on this planet Earth. I guess that's how it really feels, and I could probably say that too because I felt that way over a year ago when I thought I might have had it. This is after the fact when it came out. But anyway, I bring this up because my student has been on the medicine wheel with me since October of last year. And while she's on the medicine wheel, she's learning all kinds of practicums, self practicums, always clearing herself, but also she receives something we call rights. And these rights are rights that we give people who come and be on the medicine wheel. And some of them are called the healer's rights, to the bands of power rights, and there's something called the seer's rights, and there's the harmony rights. And then there are other ones too, day keeper's rights and wisdom keeper's rights. And last but not least is the earth keeper's rights, which she will receive next month when we all meet in person for a 5-day retreat. So I wanted to bring this to attention because I see so many things on Facebook. I see all this divisiveness, to vaccinate, to not vaccinate. I see people being beat up for not being vaccinated. I see people being beat up for being vaccinated. And I want to share something with you because I even have a student who was on the medicine wheel who decided to not continue because probably she didn't believe all this stuff. She had to kind of go, throw it out the window, perhaps. And so the thing about it is, my my student never tested positive for COVID 19, even though her family members did. She didn't. And she talked to me a little bit about it yesterday because I really wanted to look at it. I thought about it when she came on to our last intensive. She said, everybody's tested positive for COVID 19 except for me, and everybody got the vaccination. And so all I could think of what that really meant was those bands of protection are working. So, bands of protection is energy. It's energy that is emitted to another being. As a shaman, a master shaman myself, I give rights. I have my advanced students give rights as well. So I train them to give rights when they do advanced studies with me. And then when they come assist me, they give rights as well. I did the same thing when I was taking the wheel over a decade ago. So, anyway, what I want to say to you is that as I study deeper and deeper into this work of shamanism, of the Inca tradition, everything is about energy. And Inca, by the way, spelled ENQA, is all about energy. Now, I want to bring up quantum energy because most of us are familiar with that if we have a science background. And we're familiar with Einstein, and we do respect Einstein as a major contributor to science. But I don't think people realize what the um, quantum energy really means. And, it's beyond this world here. If we look at the equation itself, E equals mc squared, we're looking at something that contains light speed. It's like putting something in a vacuum. Now, if we look at the vacuum, maybe the universe as the vacuum, things travel differently in cyberspace or out there in the universe, in the planetary, up in the sky, whatever you call it, out there. Things happen differently because we don't have gravity weighing us down here on this planet Earth, right? Like on the planet Earth here. So I think what we need to look at is how things feel heavy on this Earth. It's really interesting because every time we come into an Earth sign, one of the moons is in an Earth sign, things feel heavy. And when a lot of things were in Capricorn, which is an Earth sign, about a year and a half ago, everything just felt so heavy. COVID felt heavy. COVID feels a lot lighter right now. We're in the air signs right now. A lot of planets were in the air signs. Things hit Aquarius, Saturn, and Jupiter, big major thing. Although Jupiter's in Pisces right now, it will be retrograding in Aquarius shortly. But I just want to bring this up to you. And I have a friend that says something when somebody says something, he says, that's heavy. That's heavy. And so it's like, when we say something is heavy, we feel the weight of it bearing on us, right? Energetically. Even though we don't necessarily measure energy, we measure energy by the way of maybe, looking at an instrument that will measure energy. But us, what we have to do is sense it, right? Because we can't, energy is not tangible. We don't see it. Some of us might see auras or colors and things of that sort. But honestly, we don't really, it's not as tangible. Sure, if I pick up this bottle of colloidal silver, yeah, it's going to have a weight. I have another bottle of colloidal silver that's heavier. It's interesting that this is more concentrated and this isn't. And so this bottle is heavier and this bottle isn't as heavy, even though it's concentrated. And they're both colloidal silvers. They're different brands. One's an artisan brand that I just bought from a friend here on Facebook, Crystal Love. If you want to know about that one, she can tell you more about it. It's a very, pricey bottle, but well worth it. Don't need to use as much. Anyway, getting back to this, I think that what we want to look at is when something is heavy. Being sick feels heavy, right? You feel bogged down, you feel weighted down. Um, it does carry a certain, vibration when you are sick. It feels very heavy. When we are emotionally challenged, it feels heavy, right? It's like if we're sad or if we're upset, angry, it feels very heavy. When you're around people who are like that, it feels very heavy. That's energy. All of it's energy. We exert this energy. We exert this energy in how we speak, the way we speak it. Words have energy. And just the delivery has energy. But this is not something that is so tangible. So people roll their eyes when we say, hey, we can use quantum energy to heal. And I personally believe that quantum energy is the way to go, is the way that will help us all heal this planet. And this is the way to heal yourself of COVID-19. Taking a shot that has been put, all kinds of things and some technology. Believe me, I worked in the technology sector. I have an electrical engineering background. It's very interesting how they're trying to bring a lot of chip stuff into the body. I want you to think about it. Can your body really process all that chip stuff? Technology? It's bad enough that we have cell phones, microwave ovens, computers, radiating all this energy. If I were to show you this, what is that? I have shungite. I have a piece of shungite on my laptop here because it helps to shield myself of electromagnetic field from the computer so that I don't feel all tired and exhausted when I'm working on the computer. And I noticed that I want to work less on it. But I guess what I'm saying to you, so I only work on the computer when I absolutely need to. So what I'm saying to you is that, quantum energy equals mc squared. M stands for mass. C stands for the light speed of light. Speed of light, oh my God. What is that number? It's something out there 10 to the nth power or something like that. It's really, I can't even tell you exactly. I would need to look it up. But, when you look at the speed of light, it's so vast and so fast that it can't even exist right here. If we try and measure the speed of light here from my ring light here that's shining up on me as I'm talking to you guys, We can't even really measure that with the naked eye, right? So here's the deal is anything that is huge, that moves really fast, we're not going to be able to measure it. So what does this mean? What does this all mean? I tell my students, slow down to speed things up. What exactly does that mean? Here on this planet Earth, we resist, we resist, we resist. We resist gravity. We resist a lot. Just as we resist everything that comes to us. We do it when we have high anxiety. We do it when we have all these things coming at us and we decide to sidetrack our lives and do something else. When we go and watch TV or we play a video game. I just had a friend tell me the other day, her son, who is, by the way, is a gifted individual, and I know this because I sat on a board for gifted children in Fremont when I used to live in Fremont, married with children. My kids were in the Fremont School District in the Bay Area. Gifted kids get very bored. So instead, her son, instead of excelling in school, he decided to go and play video games and flunk all his classes. And that's very typical of gifted students, by the way. So he resists his highest good, serving himself because he's bored. So he goes and plays these games. That in itself is a vibration. So I want you to know that when things are heavy, it's a lower frequency. When things are light, it's a higher frequency. When you feel peaceful, it's a higher frequency. When you have these emotions of, stress. And stress, by the way, is a reaction to a situation. It's not necessarily the situation stressful. Maybe it feels that way to us because of our reaction to it. It's not about, the situation stressful. It's our reaction. It's chaos. How can you sit peaceful in all the chaos? And that's what this is really about, the science behind it all. Because you are this being. You are this energy field. We all are energy field. And how does this energy field show up among all the chaos? I study entropy in college and physics, right? And so everything around you could be crazy and going crazy and, but how does this one particle, and maybe the particle is myself, but I'm made of many particles, but this mass, myself, can sit peaceful during all the chaos. And I think that's what we're really looking at here. How can we heal on a quantum energy level? Now, I bring this to attention because I hear all the time, well, I believe in science. Well, so do I. And I believe in a science that is so beyond the limitations of this physical world that I know it has worked for me. I received those same bands of power rights. I'm getting back to that. Those same bands of power rights back in, over a decade ago, 2010, I believe it was. And when I received those rights, I had no idea. I was still dealing with a label called asthma. So I had lung conditions. And what is ready to leave and leave the body will leave the body when you receive these bands of power. I also lost a ton of weight, went back down 2 sizes. That was not sustainable when I was before that. I could do it with diet and exercise, but it didn't maintain me. But when I did my work to lift all these burdens out of me, my own inner oppressions, then the lightness became. I went down 2 sizes. I have since been down those 2 sizes. As a matter of fact, I've been down even in exercise since then. And so I have maintained being down those 2 sizes, even though I weigh more now, but I'm still down to those 2 sizes. So that must mean I must be doing some right. Maybe it's bone density is increasing because I'm doing a lot of weight-bearing exercises. But when I lift all those burdens out of myself, all my own inner oppressions, what we might call blocks, my life began to quantum leap. And not that it just totally quantum leap. Asthma went away. I went through a healing crisis with it. And then it went totally away and it has never been back. Matter of fact, I do not need an inhaler at all today. I have not seen a bottle of Tylenol in my medicine cabinet for over 2 decades. I don't use that stuff. I don't use any of that stuff. I use energy medicine. I use plant medicine. I use minerals to help me stay well. But most of all, it's a consciousness. It is a consciousness of divine consciousness of divine health. I know that I'm divine health, so I maintain that. And if something comes within my field, such as I probably had COVID, but guess what? It stayed in my field for about 3 days last year, 3 whole days. I hear people talking about weeks. And I say that even though I wasn't tested, but I had all the symptoms. It started with the dry cough. Then it became a chills. Then it became fever. Then it became body aches. All of that, all at once. And I felt that same way that my client said, her husband said, "Oh my God, am I dying?" I mean, I knew it wasn't a cold and I knew it wasn't a flu. It just felt like something different. Intuitively, I said, I had some kind of virus. And then it was weeks later when I saw my sister post the COVID-19 or the coronavirus symptoms that I went, ooh, I think I might have had that. But 3 days, 3 days, that's a record. Many people are sick for months, weeks, whatever. And so the thing about it, I believe that because I have had the bands of power installed upon me, then nothing can stay in my energy field long enough, too long to be to my detriment. So it was 3 days and I did my inner work. I worked on myself energetically. I did my inner work. What is going on with you, Tomasa, that you feel this sickness coming over you? And it went away after 3 days. My client, she has recently received the bands of power, never tested positive for COVID-19, even though she lives in a household where her spouse tested positive for COVID-19, even had the symptoms, ready to go on his deathbed, making his plans to leave this planet Earth. He's fine now. I talked to her yesterday. I wanted to make sure and go, I want to talk to you about this because I remember her telling me over a month ago what had happened to him and how everybody was tested positive but her. Why was she the only one not tested positive? Because she has the bands of power installed upon her. That is my belief. What are the bands of power? They will set anything out that does not belong in the energy field. So it clears it out pretty quickly. It cleared it out of my field pretty quickly. It made me go do my inner work and cleared it out very quickly. E equals MC squared. It's the fastest way to move things out of you. I talk about my health, how I used to have asthma, and I'm not talking about asthma overnight. I'm talking about asthma since I was 18 years old. So I had asthma for 30 years. And then I managed it a lot with Chinese medicine. And then when I took the medicine wheel, completely gone. My girlfriend who took the medicine wheel, I mean, she hadn't been in touch with me. She hadn't known that. I said, my asthma is completely gone. What? Yes. Yes. So it's important to stay in your work. And so, me facilitating the medicine wheel is my way to stay in the work. Me facilitating the spa shows is staying in my work. I'm serving others and I'm staying in my work. I'm staying in my life purpose. Everything must line up with your soul. Because if everything is not lined up with your soul, then all these obstacles are going to come in the way. So how do you stay lined up with your soul? Are things heavy or do they feel light? So I welcome you to sense things. Use your senses. Even your senses are what we call limited. And that's why on medicine, when I teach people clairsentience, claircognizant, that's beyond what you see in this world here. And that's why we talk about metaphysics. Metaphysics is beyond the physics, beyond the physical world. Quantum energy, I believe, I know, is part of metaphysics because it is beyond this physical plane here. So can we eliminate a lot of illnesses with quantum energy? I believe that this is the new science that's coming through that will be less invasive. It's not invasive at all. It requires you to be responsible mentally, emotionally, and your actions. So how many people want to do that? Here's the deal. We walk around 95% unconscious. That's the powerful piece of the mind that we need to access. But the problem is we allow the media to access that. Not only do we allow the media to access it, they program us and they program our beliefs. They put a lot of fear into us. And we allow that fear and then we start living that fear. And then we wonder why we're such a mess, why we're experiencing anxiety. So, turn off the media, turn off the TV, tune in to your soul. This is the new science. This is the science of quantum energy. Every time we meditate, that's quantum energy. I don't care. I was on a summit the other day, and it doesn't matter what kind of meditation it is. I don't care. Just sit quiet or just do a visualization. And then there's something called an active meditation. Do whatever it takes to clear out your energy field. I even have meditations to help you clear out your energy field. So, how do you do this? Begin to breathe and be present with yourself. That in itself is the presence of energy. Because in the stillness, everything comes to you. I teach my students that a lot. And when they get into a point of they got to do, I found myself even thinking about, I was on the yoga mat this morning. I take yoga every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, first thing in the morning from 10 to 11:30. Well, it's not first thing in the morning, but it's from 10 to 11:30. My favorite teacher, Pagan George. You can find him on Facebook here. And it's called Liberation Yoga. You can do it online. I choose to do it at home. He chooses to teach it online because we are not going in a studio to wear a mask. There's no way I'm going to sit here and breathe. I'm not going to breathe carbon monoxide, my own carbon monoxide, inside a yoga studio doing yoga. So we choose to do it at home where we can actually breathe inside ourselves. Breathe in the home. Fresh air. I challenge you to do that. I think that what's happening is that I watched my sister wear masks. She's breaking out right here. Breaking out is not working for her. It's not good for her. And I'm not an anti-mask. I'm not a freaking Republican. I'm not a freaking Democrat. I'm Tomasa. I'm an independent thinker. So if you want to put me in one of those categories, think again. I want you to really tune in to your soul. I want you to know there's something bigger than what we see on this physical plane. Also, the physical world is only as good as what you see. It's very limited. Now, I hear people talk about positive and negative. I don't really care for that, but it's a contrast. When somebody says something positive, how does that feel? When someone says something negative, how does that feel? So again, we got the thing of light and heavy. Light and heavy going on here. Again, it's energy. Now, how can you quantum leap that energy? How can you go from negative to positive? Or how can you go from heavy to light? The contrast is there. How can you go from having asthma to breathing easily and effortlessly? How can you go from having a ton of weight on you to shedding weight and feeling so light? You guys will laugh at me, but I say this is what my yoga instructor says. We all have quarantine bellies or quarantine weight we got. And I feel like I got quarantine weight. Now my clothes didn't fit any different. It's interesting. It just got redistributed. And so I've been working on moving through that and allowing myself. I do it with yoga. I'm not going to sit and work out at a gym. That's just not me. I'm not that girl. I'm not the gym girl. I'm not going to be lifting weights, even though I probably should. But, I do these weight-bearing exercises, yoga, sculpting my body differently. And all the twists and turns that I used to do, They used to be like, what is this extra weight here in my lower belly? All of a sudden, it's gone flatter and flatter and flatter. And so I'm like, whoa, okay, I feel fit again. I wasn't feeling fit there for a while. And we all were locked inside. We couldn't really go outside. The places I wanted to go to hike, they were closed for a while. They're all open now. Thank God they didn't reclose them. But I want y'all to get out of this fear mode and really get into trusting intuition. Stop listening to what the media is telling you. Stop making somebody else the expert. Because you all have an expert. This is what quantum energy is about. It's intuition. It's accessing spirit. Einstein said, science, the reason why people who are atheists or agnostic are, they don't believe that the science supports spirituality is because science is limited. It has not allowed you to really look outside of that. Now, I believe that Einstein said he believed in the God of Spinoza, who is a philosopher. So he believes that we all are connected. I believe that too. I know we all are connected. That's why when somebody shows me a mirror of myself, I have to look at it. And I'm showing my mirror to other people. So there's this synonymous of learning from each other and seeing the truth. And judgments are mirrors. That's why all this to vaccinate, to not vaccinate. You're bad because you're not vaccinated. Or you're good because you're vaccinated. And then, people don't understand the logic. Like, why are you getting vaccinated if it's not really covering you the way it's supposed to? Now, people say that, this is all down because of vaccinations. I beg to differ. I think the numbers are just reported differently, but I'm going to leave that alone. So, I'm coming out with I have a medicine wheel program. I've been enrolling people since April. It's my birthday month, if y'all hadn't noticed that. So thank you all for those beautiful birthday wishes. Usually I come out with something for my birthday, but I've been really busy. I've taken care of myself differently this year for my birthday. I got to go and be in some beautiful nature. And have some giggles and some fun and jokes and laughter. And it was a good birthday. But I also like to serve. I like to serve in a way so that people get something back. Because I know my mission here on this planet is to make it a better place, to make it more peaceful, to heal this planet, to heal the people on this planet. I'm very much a people person. I love connecting with others. So I'm going to be coming out with, I've already had the medicine wheel come out, but I'm going to be coming out with something to serve others that will be a module just so you can deal with this world and remove those blocks that are sitting right here in front of you that you might not even be aware of. We're talking about however old you are, years of subconscious programming. How do we reprogram all of that and rewire it so that you live a lighter life, that your cage does not get rattled so easily, and you can sit peacefully in all the chaos around you. So watch out. I'll be posting something about that soon. But I wanted to come on here and talk about quantum energy because I love the example. I love what happened to my student/client because she has those bands of power. She didn't get COVID-19. She didn't even test positive for it. Even though her husband was around the house touching everything, he didn't quarantine himself in the room. That's what she told me yesterday. He didn't quarantine himself in the room, Tomas. I told him, you got to go. Go quarantine himself in the room. He didn't. And she waking up next to him when he had the fever. What does that tell you? When one person can have this, he's frenetically sitting up here thinking people can't come into the house now because we got COVID, right like that. But if you sit in the consciousness of responsibility and you have, as she is doing these days so beautifully, You don't have to take on that energy of COVID 19. And if you do get it, you can release it just as fast as it came in. And that's my example. Namaste. May you find quantum energy within yourself and know that your soul knows the beautiful truth of who you are. Have a beautiful Monday, and I'll see you soon. I'm thinking about making Mondays quantum life. Bye-bye. How do I stop this thing?